everyone. How's it going? This is Ashraf Khalifa from Sudanpreneur. First of all, most important thing, guys, happy Global Entrepreneurship Week 2020. I hope by now you guys know that it is Global Entrepreneurship Week, and we have been doing a series of lives, and we've been promoting or showcasing 5 successful Sudanese kandakas every day. And earlier today, so today's day 5 of the Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is from the 17th of November until the 24th of November. And earlier today, we had an interview with Anas from one of my favorite pages, Sudan Uprooted. So if you guys haven't seen it, make sure you totally check it out. It's like one of the most visually amazing and stunning Instagram pages out there. And now we have the second interview for day 5 with Man from Sudan. So this is a clothing brand. Alright, so he hasn't come into the live yet, but as soon as he joins, we will send him a request. And as I keep saying, this is the hardest part, when you're like by yourself, just waiting for the person that you're supposed to do an interview with to join. So you have to sort of just like ad lib and get all creative. I just wanted to say I'm like super duper proud of myself. Yesterday's interview, I managed to do the whole thing, like I'd say 98% of it in Arabic. So I totally did listen to your feedback. I hope I managed to prove you guys. Right, so Man from Sudan has been was joined the live, and I've added him. So hopefully, yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Hey, brother Ashraf, salam alaikum.
How's it going, brother? You good?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for having me.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for agreeing to take part and stuff.
Yeah, no, I had a little bit of confusion طبعا with the time zone, so
Yeah,
thank you for
actually,
being open and able to improvise too. I appreciate that.
no problem. For those of you that don't know, because this is like an inside joke between me and Man from Sudan. So he's in America, I'm in England, and then there's obviously, a bigger place, Sudan. So in America, they've got 3 time zones, and in Sudan, they've got a different time zone. So I assumed that he thought it was like an American time zone. And it's actually funny because at 2:30 like GMT, I was like passed out, fast asleep. So I overslept, and I was worried that like you tried to get in touch with me. So I'm actually glad that you thought it was.
Alhamdulillah, it worked out, yani.
It totally worked out. All right. So first of all, would you like to introduce yourself and a little bit about like Man from Sudan and what it is, and a bit about the brand?
Absolutely. So my name is Jamal Abdurrahman Al-Sharif. I was born here in America. I grew up part of my life here and actually in Sudan as well. Man from Sudan, it started probably like, I want to say like 7 years ago. That was my handle for my Twitter. And
Nice.
At that time, I had a vision for it, but I didn't really, implement and take the time to do it. And it was actually this last year with Corona where بالنسبة لي طبعا it was kind of a blessing. لأنه I had a lot of free time, and I just said, I want to actually do something, that's worthwhile, and actually put this vision forward. فبعد ذاك طبعا, I was able to build the brand. I was able to, make my own website, manfromsudan.com. And I just wanted it to be like a tribute to Sudanese art and culture. اللي هو, like the Nubian culture, the pyramids. طبعا everybody thinks about Egypt, so I'm like, we need Sudan to be known as well.
Exactly.
And alhamdulillah, when I did it, I got a lot of great feedback from a lot of different people. They really liked the designs. And so it just felt good, to get that feedback. لأنه طبعا, that was my initiative, is I want to give people trendy, fashionable clothing, but at the same time, it's representing and letting people know, So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Dude, I love that. I love that. And I love that like you had a vision or an idea, and then you started 7 years ago, but you didn't take the plunge. So talk to us a
Exactly.
little bit about like why it took you so long, and then in terms of like
Yeah.
because you mentioned like the free time with the coronavirus, but what was it in particular that made you decide to start now?
والله طبعا it was just I had that like about 3 months يعني I got laid off of work. uh فبعد ذاك I said يعني شنو, half the world is shut down anyway, so while I'm quarantining يعني why don't I actually put this forward. And so I have a lot of people who I talk to about the brand and wanting to actually do it. um and I was able to just kind of like buckle down and أقول إنه like what better time than now يعني. ف that's kind of what, and back in the day طبعا I didn't really know. I didn't do the research in terms of what it meant to brand yourself, getting a logo, having a website. لكن I discovered يعني شنو, it was really just fear maybe of just it not going anywhere, or like مثلا people not liking the idea. And I was younger too طبعا, so like it wasn't like ما كنت مفكر إنه that it would actually come into fruition. ف yeah, so this last year قلت يا أخي I'm going to اتوكل and just put my best foot forward and see what happens, and it's been a blessing alhamdulillah يعني.
Dude, I love that. I love that. And then
Yeah.
talk to us like a little bit more about your background, because you mentioned that you just mentioned that you got laid off. So what did you study, and what were you doing before? And sort of talk
Yeah,
to us a little bit about your career, a bit more about your background.
بالضبط. So I'm still there يعني. طبعا it was a furlough اللي هو مثلا which is basically like, I think you understand that.
100%.
ف it's I work Yahoo in healthcare insurance, and that industry طبعا directly was impacted by COVID. Um, and so they had to kind of like flip everything upside down and figure out, how to maneuver. Uh, I was working at home aslan already at that time, and so I want to say like 80 to 90% of our department is all working from home, like the rest of the world. Um, ف yeah, فthat's when يعني أنا قعدت مع نفسي قلت يا أخي أنا I want to actually do something, put myself out there يعني, and build this brand that I've had for so long. And people really like the idea, the logo, the message behind it. Basically, like Man from Sudan is a tribute to my father, rahimullah. He passed away in 2009. And هو طبعا هاجر هنا from Sudan as an immigrant, and this was in the 1980s. And he came here to Minnesota, which, outside of America, many people may not know it. Um, فهو بدأ هناك يعني with a community of very small Sudanese at that time. There wasn't a lot of Sudanese here in Minnesota at that time. And بعد ذاك طبعا he was able to go to school and يأسس نفسه يعني. And the entrepreneurship comes from him also لأنه هو طبعا he always had an idea to مثلا he had a store at one point, like a grocery store. But growing
Nice.
up I saw this يعني. um, لكن بس طبعا for me I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I always knew I wanted to be in business and entrepreneurship. لكن ما كان عندي الidea. ف that's when yeah, this last year I was able to say, let me put this Man from Sudan thing actually and see what happens to it. Um, and then I made my first project, my first album, um, and that got a lot of great reception as well from people. Um, but that's
So when
kind
you
of the
say
idea
album,
behind.
you mean like art, like music album, artist, or
Yeah, and I thought you knew. Like, and yeah, I also make music.
okay.
Everything is on manfromsudan.com. If you search on YouTube, Man from Sudan, that'll pull up. Um,
So you make like you make fashion and you make music And what yani talk to us more about like your, because you said you wanted to establish your vision, but and you didn't talk about like what yani where you are right now and what products you have or what services you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So as of right now, the idea طبعا is to grow from here. But Man from Sudan, basically, it's T-shirts, it's hoodies, and now we have masks, طبعا. Um,
Corona.
and yeah, Corona, it's a game changer. Like, you got to have something
100%.
fashionable instead of just wearing a regular mask.
100%.
ف يعني الidea طبعا I've had a lot of people في السودان برضو ask me if we ship to Sudan لأنه عجبهم الidea وكذا and some of the actual shirts. And I just told them, I was like, والله للأسف يعني الآن I don't have the means to
Yeah.
send it over there, but that's the idea inshallah is next year to be able to actually أسافر هناك and be able to establish like a branch out there. This is basically, yeah, the idea is to like the term itself, man from Sudan, يعني بقول إنه like أنا ما the man from Sudan. بقول like إنه شنو يعني, especially musically, I looked at it as like you don't have to go any further to shoot the name of the artist. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah, 100%.
further interpretation of it. And for me, that's a tribute to my father, Allah yarhamu. لأنه هو was the man from Sudan. So بالنسبة لي أنا, I carry that as a chip on my shoulder uh, to honor him, and then also at the same time just to, Sudan has such a rich culture, and for me, I look at it as this is beautiful because I'm able to bring people, designs that they really like, and they're also representing their home country. Yani, it's really a blessing, yani. It's a great opportunity. So, yeah.
Then I also wanted to say, yani, there's not a lot of Sudanese yani, people or brands or artists or whatever that yani, reach out to me on Sudanpreneur and send me messages. So like the fact that you did that, like I wanted to say yani, much respect
Oh
and then
man.
also like
Yeah.
and then like in terms of yani, what advice would you give to people that have an idea and are like a little bit scared in terms of yani, starting out? Like what would you tell them?
Absolutely. So I mean, I was in that same boat. يعني أنا a little bit of laziness too. Just يعني الواحد بيفكر لكن you don't want to actually put the work in. لكن I would implore anybody at this point, يعني if you are Sudanese, and you don't necessarily have to be Sudanese, لكن طبعا يعني نحن عشان شنو this is a very vital time for Sudan. لأنه it's like what we do الليلة حاليا is going to shape the future of the next generation. I think my advice would be is whatever it is, whatever your art is, uh, don't be afraid of rejection. Yani. Just put yourself out there, get a sample of whatever it is. Yani. If you do music, مثلا, make one song, وبعد that go from there. Start with one or two T-shirts, مثلا, if you're in the fashion area. And then it's tawakkal, really. You just have to put yourself forward, yani. And I think when it comes to business, بالذات, yani, as you know, is success doesn't come overnight, yani. You have to be willing to continue to, diversify yourself and be willing to continue to push forward. لأنه مرات it can take 2 years, 3 years لحد الزول يعني شنو إنه to break through the market. So this is definitely a very vital time. I would say anybody who is, doing anything business-wise this is the time to start. Yani.
So I like that.
Yeah.
And then
You were thanking me for reaching out to you. I mean, بالنسبة لي أنا it's the total opposite. يعني أنا بشوف إنه for Entrepreneurship Week, the fact that إنه أنت you reached out to me to put me in that category, I mean, that was very humbling. I said, يعني, wow, like this is, it makes me feel good and makes me motivated to want to continue the vision, يعني.
and real talk, yani, even though you've only been doing this for only a year, and you've definitely made a big impact. Definitely give you like definitely.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I wanted to ask you about, yani, what's the thing that you found the most surprising when it came to this?
Most surprising when it came to it.
When you first started your business and in the business world.
What I found most surprising?
Yeah.
Wallahi, I would say, يعني, how easy it is to make that step. لأنه أنا طبعا, as you said, كنت مفكك اللوجو. I see is far-fetched. I was able to make the logo, and I was able to get the domain name for manfromsudan.com. And by the next week, I was able to launch the website. يعني. So I was like, wow, يعني شوف أنا الشهور والسنين دي كلها to يعني أنت لازم, you have to believe in yourself. And here's another thing, going back to the advice to entrepreneurs who are up and coming. يعني put yourself out there and say, okay, you know what? And I'm going to do this thing. Your camp around you are not always going to say, hey, well, I move forward or do this thing. Yani. So sometimes you have to take risk. That's a bit.
Some good knowledge you dropped. I think we're having a bit of technical, but I think you can hear me and I can hear you, right? I think there's a tiny bit of a delay.
Is it glitch?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
Then, like, what would be the
Yeah, yo, yeah. No, طبعا, I couldn't hear anything until now, so.
okay. Technical. I was asking you about your technical. About your the biggest challenge that you faced, and then like the journey and how you overcame it.
I think my own, self-doubt, my own, I think طبعا this is a human thing, إن الزول طبعا أنت it's fear of rejection, fear of إنه مثلا, something you're so proud of. So I'm going to actually move forward with doing. لكن أنت, if you are truly passionate about your craft and your work, people will see that, they will acknowledge that. And that was kind of like the biggest hurdle for myself, يعني challenge, was إنه to say, like, you know what, okay, Jamal, you just have to do your thing, and then ba'dak, you know, be happy with the results of it. That biggest thing I think for up and coming entrepreneurs, اللي هو إنه هم they have to get through that hurdle. Once you get through that, yeah, and sky's the limit.
Question has come through. I'm just gonna load it. Right.
Yeah.
Can you see it on the screen or no? Right, so
Yeah. So the name of the brand is Man from Sudan. The different designs that are available. There's a link directly that will take you to the actual website. And you can go to manfromsudan.com, and that's going to have everything available on there too, Yani. So that's the name of the brand, the Man from Sudan brand.